For my video, I decided to kind of go over the basics of cluttered versus well-organized visualization that I potentially could use in my classroom. So I just kind of going over the basics, what each of the three components are, then I have a good or bad example at the end. So to begin with, the three components of visualization are typography, screen design, and media. And in this video we'll go over each one of those a little bit more in depth. So the first component is typography. So this is things like fonts, highlighting, line length, basically how you're presenting the words in your presentation, whether it's an advertisement or anything like that. So fonts should be obviously legible, they should be big enough, and they should fit in the medium that you're trying to do. If you're doing a presentation in school, it should be basic fonts where easily readable. The second part is highlighting. This would be things such as highlighting important words, whether it's with yellow, orange, whatever you want to do. And then the last one is line length. If you're doing a presentation, you want to keep line lengths pretty consistent. You want to keep them relatively short so it's not cluttered with words. So on the picture on the right, obviously the spacing's off on there. The line lengths are all different. That's kind of bad. Besides the font's kind of bad typography. You want to avoid it. You want to keep it nice and clean, short and to the point. The second component is screen design. So this is going to be things like the amount of information that is presented. So again, for my context, if I think of it as a presentation at a school to my students, you don't want to put too much information on a screen and make it all jumbled up and hard to pick out the main points. Ideally, you want kind of something that this slide has, short amount of information, maybe a picture on one side. You want to keep it nice, clean. The second part is grouping of the information. This would be things like keeping words all together, maybe like on the left side that I have here, picture on the right. You want to keep the information that's related to each other in one group. And the last part is where items are placed throughout the screen. So again, in this case, I have a title up there. I have all my words coming down that are bulleted, and then my picture on the right, trying to make it clean looking and not cluttered. Then that last component is going to be media. These are things like graphics, pictures, all that, videos. Maybe you embed a video in one of your slides. There's going to be animations such as the GIF that I have over on the right side, or audio. And the biggest thing with media is you don't want to be overwhelming with your media. You don't want to have 5 different GIFs or videos going on, all showing different things. You don't want a ton of audio that is blasting through and taking away from what the screen's actually trying to say. And then the animations, again, you want to keep it relevant to what is on the slides and not so interesting that it takes away from everything. So you want to try to blend everything together and make it look very clean and well organized. So if we're looking kind of at advertisement, things like this, I would say this is a bad example of visualization. There are different fonts going on at work. There are a ton of different things that are highlighted for the typography. The media, there is a whole lot going on. And the screen design, it's hard to know where to look at one time. Everything's trying to draw your eyes at once instead of having one main thing there and then looking at the rest of it. So this is really cluttered. It's hard to, again, pick out that one important thing on here because of all those things that we just mentioned. On the other hand, this would probably be a good example. Just kind of a minimal screen design. You have words right in the middle that your eyes are drawn to. They're easy to read. They stand out against the background. And then we have a really good visual representation for media. If we're talking about saving water, saving lives, it's showing a fish and his bowl is slowly draining out, trying to show us what will happen if we don't save water. So I think this is a really good example of a very clean and sleek design that gets to the point, that's kind of minimal, draws your eyes to 2 or 3 things instead of, if we're going back to the bad example, drawing your eyes to try to 10 or 15 things at once.